Kufu Enterprises LLC has partnered with Atlantic Union Bank and Bonsai to offer free online financial literacy modules for middle and high school students. You can access these courses at maliksfirstjob.com under the Education tab. These courses cover a wide range of topics that will help our children increase their knowledge about money. So please, visit maliksfirstjob.com and register your child for these free online courses. Peace.
So impressed with the branding. Like, how did you come up with it? And a lot of times for me, I said, follow your child's passion, like find out what it is they like. And then and it's funny though, because ironically, that's not really how Amani's business started. It was, like I said, because we were, trying out the lemonade, and it just kind of happened. But if it was beyond that, I would say don't force your child into anything. You have to kind of guide your child into this space, and so look and see what they're really good at, because that's what's going to make it feel, and I'm sure you've heard before, less like a job if they're doing something that they actually enjoy. So start there. Do not live vicariously through your child. So
Malik's First Job Podcast, here to answer any questions that y'all ask. Financial literacy and resources, parents and young people becoming bosses, CEOs, future leaders, entrepreneurs, conferences and boardrooms getting sponsors secured. If you want generational wealth, Brooklyn's own Kerwin Phillip with information to help. Malik's First Job Podcast, Malik's Podcast, Brooklyn's own Kerwin Phillip, Kerwin Phillip. Malik's First Job Podcast, Brooklyn's own Kerwin Phillip. Generational wealth.
Greetings, everyone. How you doing? This is Kerwin Phillip here with another episode of the Malik's First Job Podcast, where we speak about leadership, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy for parents and teens. Today, we have a guest, Miss Pamela Spratley. She's the founder of the Enough Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization geared to help youth entrepreneurs grow and develop their businesses. She's also a parent of a youth entrepreneur. We'll speak about that as well. So I just want to go ahead and welcome Pam Spratley to the show. How you doing today?
Hello. Nice to be here, Kerwin. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I know actually we met each other several years ago when we were doing we still do with the Richmond Children's Business Fair, and your daughter was a participant in the business fair, and we actually sat down and had a conversation years ago. You spoke about how the steps you took to kind of get her started and help her grow her business. So if you don't mind sharing, for those that that weren't present for that conversation, how did your daughter get started in entrepreneurship, and how old was she when she got started?
Yep. So she was 9 at the time. She's 13 now, so it's five years ago. And I like to say that her business was kind of one of those happen chance business where we weren't really looking to start a business. It was just one of those things that just kind of came together. She was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 9, and during that time, we were experimenting in our kitchen with new recipes for her. After doing some research about ADHD, one of the things that I saw that was common in all of the research was that the foods that we eat in our diet, really kind of was the main thing that you should target. And so we said, okay, before we go the medicine route, let's focus on her eating. And so we went into the kitchen and started experimenting with lemonade recipes without using sugar, because sugar is one of those things that even beyond students that have or children that have ADHD, for all of us, it's benefits of taking sugar out of your diet. The benefits are there for all of us. And so we went into the kitchen and we started experimenting with lemonade recipes minus the white granulated sugar. And so we did about 4 or 5 recipes until we found one that she enjoyed, the family enjoyed, and had a family friend try it. And that family friend said, oh my goodness, this is so good, I would buy it. And so it was like one of those you would. And so at that same time, the Richmond Children's Fair was popular, and I was like, you know what, this might be worth introducing to the community as well. And my
Okay.
daughter was up for it, and so we took a chance, and like I said, 5 years later, she has really transitioned from a bottle of lemonade into a whole brand. Um,
Wow.
mhm.
Wow. Wow. And then what's the name of the brand?
Tink's Healthy Kitchen. So when we started 5 years ago, it was
Mhm.
Tink's Organic Lemonade, because we were only focusing on the lemonade. We were more focused on her why behind it. And so we
Right.
just talked about that product. It was Tink's Organic Lemonade, Tink's Organic Lemonade. And then as the business grew and we started to add additional products, like aprons and reusable utensils, and we wrote a cookbook together, and all different type of merchandises. We changed the name to Tink's Healthy Kitchen so that it could encompass all of the other merchandise, and give a better name to the mission of what we were trying to achieve.
Oh wow, wow, wow. So what made you choose like some of the other products? Like you said you did like aprons and cookbooks, you know.
So, yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what kind of led you to that direction?
Mhm. So again, for me, understanding your why and just having your why move you was always
Hmm.
important for me. So again, when we first started with Just the Lemonade, we were educating people in our community about ADHD, and talking about how you can approach it without going always the medical. And I'm not, saying that medicine is never needed, but we were just focusing on that why for a minute. And so
Okay.
then we said, let's just go ahead and elevate the conversation and talk about um, other things that you can just do as a child to be healthy. And so one of the things that was important for my daughter was she didn't want to stand out, and she didn't want it to be like she was being targeted. Like, I have this, this disorder, and I can't be normal and all that. And I said, well,
Hmm.
nothing's wrong with spreading the message of being a healthy kid, period, right? Beyond your
Right.
diagnosis. So then we started talking about, like, for our family, we all when Amani was diagnosed with ADHD, we all stopped um, cooking with sugar. I haven't bought a bag of white granulated sugar in 5 years. So we just started talking about that conversation as a whole. And so we're like, okay, now how else can we be healthy? So then we wrote the cookbook. And so the cookbook
Okay.
has over 100 recipes, and none of them will ever call for you to put sugar in anything. And
Okay.
they're really good. And then it was like, and then what else can you do to be a good person? So then we have reusable straws. And so a lot of times you go to the restaurants now and they're giving out those paper straws, because they're, the economy is, we're trying to be better humans. And so
Right.
small go, far. And so a lot of the restaurants have jumped on board and started giving the paper straws.
Hmm.
The straws or the plastic, they get into the ocean, and all the damages that they can do. And so
Hmm.
we, with our variation of a reusable straw, it's metal. It has a
Okay.
carrying case. It has a cleanser, and then her friends, when she sells them, they love hooking them on their backpacks. And so it's just kind of like starting that movement about, okay, how can you do one extra thing for yourself, and trending with the kids. So the straws came, and then the apron was just kind of made sense when we did the cookbook. It was like, you're in the
Right.
kitchen now, um yeah, everything, I like to say, it's on purpose. So we move, our why really moves us
Mhm.
to build that brand. It really did kind of drive the brand.
Okay. Okay. So what were some of the alternatives that you use as opposed to using like white sugar?
Mhm. So natural sweeteners. There's so many natural sweeteners out here. And for us, just kind of getting a combination of what really tastes good. So for us, what we ended up on was raw, organic cane
Hmm.
sugar. And so it's
Okay.
not processed. It breaks down in the body quicker than that white sugar. It's not bleached. It doesn't have, the additives, and it doesn't have all of those chemicals that you get when you have a lot of processed foods. So for us, it
Okay.
was always the natural. We were looking for natural, organic substitutions. And so her lemonade, everything is completely organic. And I love that I had that conversation with children that at different events that we're at. Her lemonade, so now she's up to 3 flavors, and
Okay.
strawberry, so it looks orange. And so a lot of times when we're selling it, it turns into a science project or science, like science fair. So kids are going, why is it orange if it's strawberry? And I said, well, I'm glad you asked, because
Right.
there are no additives, there are no, artificial colors or flavors. And so
Wow.
when red strawberries meet yellow lemons and they come together, you don't, put anything in them, this makes orange. And then blueberry looks purple because blueberries are really a dark purple,
Right.
opposed to, going to pick up juice in the grocery store that has the additives and the preservatives, and they're crystal blue, and and it's like, that's not really a fruit in there, and so
Right.
that really makes me feel good to have that conversation with so many kids, because people, we're not talking about it a lot, and so
Right.
see their eyes light up and have my daughter kind of lead that conversation is important for me.
Yes, it's so important to have people educated about food and the ingredients that are in food. 'Cause a lot of times we overlook that. We just worry about how things look and how they taste, and not really consider what does this stuff do to me afterwards. So that's it's very important, and I think it's critical. And it's great that you all are doing that, paying attention to that important aspect of food and drink.
Absolutely. And I will also say one thing. I will say her choices of food. She started to eat more when we wrote the cookbook, because she was a part of that process. And that's something else that's important with the cookbook. And just in general, when you bring children into the kitchen, they're more apt to try new foods if they're a part of that process. And so
Right.
she has tried so many new foods and vegetables because of us writing this cookbook. And so that's one of the things that we want to make sure that parents understand with this cookbook, because they can grow with the cookbook. But I guarantee you, it's called Build a Lunch. And the reason why we called it that is because we want children to be a part of that process of what goes into that body and into their body, because they're more likely to try new foods if they are the ones actually building their lunch. And so we just give them, the blueprint. Here go the options. We give them 3 different sections and says, if you pick something from each section in this book, you'll have a well-balanced lunch. You can't go wrong. That was also important for us to make sure that they were a part of the decision making.
Wow. So where's the business at right now?
So the business it's funny you asked that. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Amani just turned 13. So she is a teenager. Well, not just, she's been 13 for a few months now.
Right.
So she's officially a teenager, and she's really wanting to live that teenage life. And so she's I'm not going to say she's on pause. The book is out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. We still do door drop deliveries with her lemonade. I usually slow her down at the beginning of the school year, usually the end of summer. So going into fall and winter, we kind of slow down anyway, just so she can focus on her education. That's first and foremost, regardless of what we're doing. And then we pick back up and go heavy in the springtime. So she's still here. She's still in the background. And you'll see her around at different events once spring comes, but she's definitely out here being a teenager and and just enjoying herself. So the business is running itself. That's one of the good things that I told her when we started. Once we got into it, I said, one thing we'll create that passive income, where once we've got a good thing going, it'll just kind of run itself. The business will run itself. And so she's got the website up and running. And so if people, we do get orders, we'll place the orders. But only thing that slows down right now is that face-to-face ventures and things like that.
Right. So I guess, do y'all have someone else making the lemonade for you all, or?
Not yet. So right now it's still homemade. We take the orders in and we are doing them. But that's the next thing that we are shopping around looking for. Oh man, it would be great to have an angel investor or a warehouse pick us up. So we are looking into that. It's not the easiest thing to just kind of say you want to do and it's done. But we are definitely hoping that we can find someone that can pick us up, a
Okay.
warehouse.
Okay.
And-
Okay. Yeah. I remember we had a conversation about. I know that was the direction that she was trying to go in. I wasn't sure if you had got it done yet or not. So.
Yeah, no, we right now we've been doing door drop deliveries, and so when we take an
Okay.
order, usually the largest order we'll take at a time that we can do because we make everything fresh.
Right.
The day before or the day of is 100, and so we've been
Okay.
able to maintain that right now. So for
Okay.
that reason, we were presented the opportunity to get into a grocery store a few years back, but we declined because we wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that it was fresh, like we were delivering fresh, like we've always promised.
Right. 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 So, what are some of the things? I guess some of the qualities that you've seen. I guess some of the skills that your daughter has gained throughout this process.
Oh wow. Her confidence level, one, she's shy. She's honestly shy. And so this experience has really allowed her to be more confident in front of people, talking to people. Just having that her self-esteem, it's boosted her up, those type of qualities. And then that whole business aspect, things that she probably wouldn't get these skill sets until she's, or even touch on them until she's in high school,
Right.
economics and things like that. So I like that we started these conversations a lot earlier because she's able to understand and or recognize business concepts and terms at an early age. In elementary school, we're talking about assets and savings and not savings, but building your business, having a business plan and all those business terms that again,
Right.
either she may get them in school depending on what classes she end up, or it may
Mhm.
not until she's in the working world. So
Right.
I'm fortunate enough, being an entrepreneur myself, to give her,
Mhm.
that education early on. So she knows all about, having to save money and invest it back into your business so that the business to grow. She understands that formula on what it
Mhm.
takes to keep a business going. She knows what it takes. We always talk about how the day went when we do an event, and we talk about what how much. So I don't hide anything from her. And so we talk about
Mhm.
the numbers. We talk about how much her profit was, how much she can calculate how much she's paid based off of her sales, things like that. And
Right.
so we have those real finance conversations so that she's an active and participant in her business. It's not
Mhm.
mom running it behind the scenes. She's actually a part of that conversation. So finance conversations are definitely on the table in our household.
Okay. Great. 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 So another question is, as a mother, parent, mentor, I guess, how have you changed or how have you evolved throughout this process?
So I've been an entrepreneur probably since I was born. I was born and didn't realize it, right? I like to
Okay.
call myself a serial entrepreneur, and so for me, it just came natural. And it wasn't until when we started this venture, my husband at the time was driving trucks across country. And so I had never even considered bringing a child into the entrepreneurial world. Like I have two children. I never considered it was just, I'm a mom when I need to be a mom. And then, when they're off to bed or when they're doing something else, and then I go into the entrepreneurial world. So for me, it was so fascinating that I was able to bring her into my space. And so this has
Okay.
really helped me bond with her in a way that I hadn't even thought about. This is something that we would
Okay.
be doing. And so for that reason, because I enjoy entrepreneurship so much, it was just that sparkle just went off like, wow, like I can really include my daughter in on a conversation that I'm so passionate about. And
Right.
so that was eye-opening for me because again, like I said, I hadn't, just life in general, I hadn't thought about, okay, I need to pull, one day I'm going to pull my daughter into this. My children, I like to let them just I follow them and their desires and their dreams. But then for her to come into my world, I was like, whoa, this really feels good. So,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. So with that, I guess with your experience working with your daughter, that kind of, I guess, has motivated you to want to go work with other children, right? Is that
Yeah.
yeah? So tell us about the Enough Foundation, the nonprofit you started.
Yep. So the Enough Foundation started in 2021. I've been in
Okay.
the background putting it together. It's a nonprofit organization. And it really kind of started, again, another happen chance business. So I have I run four for-profit businesses outside of the Enough Foundation. So this one was a
Okay.
stretch for me because it's a nonprofit, and this is my first 501c3 organization. I was definitely out of my comfort zone when I started this, but it was a passion project. And
Okay.
so what has happened over the years of working with Amani is that I recognized that I had a gift. And so when we were at different events and we were vending or we were in at interviews, I would always end up with a lot of sidebar conversations, sort of like what we're having, like
Mhm.
how did this come about, and even from other parents. And so we're in a space where other children are vending too. And children, as
Mhm.
you know, there are different levels at these business fairs. You know, some of them are out there and it was just a hobby and they're just kind of figuring it out. And then you got some that are kind of, they know this thing. They're like, wait a minute, I know I got something going. And, we started putting some money over like it's a business. And so I would have a lot of
Mhm.
sidebar conversations with parents about Amani's success, and
Mhm.
um, they would um, they would ask me about how I got her started and things like her booth and her marketing, her brand, all about branding. And so it was obvious to me that people recognize the effort and work that we put into it. And so I'm like,
Mhm.
if that's they're noticing it, then I'm doing something right. And so again, I had so many sidebar conversations and parents going, would you help me and my child get to that next level? Or asking for my resources and who did you go to for this, that, and the third. And you know,
Mhm.
so finally I'm like, this conversation after the, 20, 30th time, I'm like, you know what? I
Right.
almost thought about writing an ebook. And so I ended up just going the route of starting. I said, well, let me just do something from the heart. So the Neff Foundation kind of came about in that way. And then I also have a degree in early childhood education. So I love working. I worked with the youth before and I missed that space. And so this gives me the opportunity to kind of get back in that space.
Okay.
Um, and so it just kind of made sense for me at the time. So just excited about and teaching children what I know and seeing them flourish through the knowledge that I have.
Okay.
Peace. What's going on? This is Kerwin Phillip from the Malik's First Job podcast. Just a quick reminder, hit that subscribe button below and that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode when it drops. All right? Thank you all for supporting, and let's jump back into the conversation. Peace. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google products, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Let's create something together. Follow the link in the show notes and let Buzzsprout know that we sent you, and that'll get you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan and help support our show. Thank you very much, and let's be great podcasting together. Peace.
So with you working, I guess, with parents approaching you, asking you different types of questions, what are like some of the most common questions that you get from parents and other youth entrepreneurs?
Most honestly, they're so impressed with the branding. Like, how did you come up with it? And a lot of times for me, I said, follow your child's passion, like find out what it is they like. And then in that, and it's funny though, because ironically, that's not really how Amani's business started.
Hmm.
It was, like I said, because we were trying out the lemonade, and it just kind of happened. But if it was beyond that, I would say don't force your child into anything. You have to kind of guide your child into this space, and so look and see what they're really good at, because that's what's
Hmm.
going to make it feel, and I'm sure you've heard before, less like a job if they're doing something that they actually enjoy. So start there. Do not live vicariously through your child. So if you wanted
Hmm.
to sell paintings, and the timing wasn't right, you never happened, don't force the painting selling paintings on your child, right? Because it doesn't mean
Right.
that's work. And so I kind of start there. And then I also talk about carving out time. So allow your child to always continue to be a child. And so for us,
Hmm.
like I said, Amani's business really took off, but I also made sure she did not work through spring break. She got to enjoy her spring break. We went on vacations for spring break because that's what kids
Hmm.
do, right? And
Right.
then during the week, we agreed upon how much time she would allocate to the business. And so I tell
Hmm.
parents all the time, have those real conversations with your kids to see if they're willing to, sacrifice some video time, some outdoor time, or whatever it takes to run the business.
Right.
Tell them. And then also you've got to give the silver lining and talk about money and say, if you work a little harder, you can make a little money. And so it just balances out. You have like that completely holistic, organic conversation of what it looks like. If you work the business, you'll reap the rewards. Um, so I talk to parents about that a lot, and then just making sure that you have quality product and work, and then also
Hmm.
creating that lane of creating your own lane, because one thing that I noticed at a lot of the business fairs that we do, you have a lot of repeat product. And so how do you
Hmm.
stand out from the rest? And so I love having that conversation too. Some
Right.
spaces are saturated, and so you gotta figure out a way to shine beyond the crowd. And again, with the Monty's business, she didn't create lemonade for sure. Lemonade stands have been
Right.
around long before you and I. But what she has
Hmm.
done is she's created a why behind her lemonade, and then it's organic. You don't that word organic really pops out. And so we've
Right.
had events where we've had 3 lemonade vendors, but we'll still have a line at ours because people feel like which they are doing a really good thing by having lemonade, organic lemonade, right? And so we'll
Right.
have folks come and go, I just got to try this lemonade, and it tastes different. And so it's not going to taste like your typical lemonade stand lemonade. And no shade at all to anybody else's, but
Right.
the reality is we created her lane by going at it the way we do. And so I definitely
Right.
tell parents, I'm not saying you've got to create a whole new product that no one's ever heard about. You just got to figure out a way to make yours stand out from the rest.
Yeah, I remember when my daughter, because she had a little entrepreneurship bug as well, and she did the business fair several years. And I think the first year she did it, when you go to these business fairs and you see these youth entrepreneurs, like as you said, you see a lot of the same products.
Mhm.
And when my daughter first started, she started with jewelry, like she was making bracelets, earrings and stuff like that. And you'll see tons of that at these different business fairs. And I think we had a conversation and we were like, what can, because she was, not kind of complaining, like everybody has the same thing. I
Mhm,
said, well, you
mhm.
got to try to find a way to make yours different or, maybe go in a different direction. So then eventually she got into her painting because she paints as well. So I'm like, well, your painting is unique and no one can copy that. So maybe perhaps you want to go in that direction. And that's when she started going into artwork and then was very successful in
Yeah,
that route. In
yeah,
that route.
absolutely, exactly. And you're right. Like you said, those paintings are going to be different. And nobody, I love that. That's a great example. Um,
Hmm.
Yep, because paintings are like snowflakes. Not everyone's gonna be different. And so, and she gets to express herself. And that's a really personal craft too. I love,
Right.
painting, but it is, but sometimes if they do end up in a space where it's crowded, just know again, and sometimes it's hard to, depending on the age of the kids, it's like, but your daughter is a little bit older, easier to have that conversation and help her transition. But if they're starting out really young and they're like, oh no, but I love slime and I really want to make slime, and you're like, well, okay, slime, and it's hard to have that conversation with them, to get them to understand. And so that's where us as the parent and the support center, the mentors and all, we have to really put our creative hat on to help, until they can understand that lesson. So
that's where the branding comes in, right? Where they can say, okay, like, you can look at a pair of shoes, like you see a pair of shoes in Walmart and see the exact same shoe at Foot Locker, except it has a logo in Foot Locker, which makes it a brand. And whereas, or even like people talk about a T-shirt, you'll see a regular T-shirt may cost $10, but you throw a horse on there, the Polo logo, now that shirt costs $50.
Exactly. Same
Exactly.
Same T-shirt.
100% cotton, right? Right.
So you
same one, but
right. You are. They're buying into that brand. So that brand is what's most important, and that was definitely what was important for us. Like, we put Amani's face on it, and for a while she hated it. She's like, I don't want to. I know what I'm doing here. Like, this is a good thing. And so we had a couple things that would sell her lemonade. It was her story, because we were handing off the lemonade and telling her story, and people were hooked. They were dead in on her story. You got a good story, and it's a feel-good story. And so we had some people going, I don't even want lemonade. Like, I don't drink lemonade, but because of that story, I'm gonna buy it. We had people going, I don't want to buy this lemonade because of this little brown face on here, and I love supporting black and brown kids, and I want I love this, and I want to go show my family, my kids. Again, we ain't even talking about the lemonade. And both of those situations right there, we're not actually talking about the lemonade. We're talking about the wine. We're talking about the label. So it's like, you got a good brand that's going to take you further than the product itself. And then the third thing is organic. Makes people feel good. Makes people feel like they're doing a good, So we can talk three things before we even say, taste the lemonade now, and people taste it and actually like, and they're like, oh wow, this is actually good. And we had a couple people compare it to Chick-fil-A's lemonade, which if you're familiar with Chick-fil-A's lemonade, is like one of the top. And I'm like, I don't even know, like, in my most humblest way, like, I didn't even know how to receive that. But it's good that we pushed hard for her brand, but the product is actually good as well. So that was important to me.
Yes. So where do you see yourself, I guess, in the next 5 to 10 years with the Enough Foundation?
Yeah, so I am in the background working hard. Like I said, I run a couple businesses, so I carve out time in my day to really build this. So right now I am networking, trying to build a great team, a support system in the background, so that when I start my coaching, which will actually be this year, I actually am working with a team, a group of kids now on a clothing line. So hopefully come out soon. A group of cousins that's working on the clothing line, but they're which is kind of different because this is a partnership. The partnership is a little bit different, so that's a new conversation. But I am working on creating the steps of success for youth entrepreneurs, regardless of where they are. If they are just at idea phase, or if they're a little bit further in, ultimately, I would love to partner with, and I have a couple meetings coming up with financial planners to try to come up with a plan of how we can help these kids open up savings accounts and save for their businesses. So I've got some great things in the background that I want to present to the youth that I work with. So just, creating that blueprint, and because for me, Oh, and I also talk about freelance work. So even if kids come to me and they say, I just want to make some money. I don't have an idea. I just want to make some money. And you know, a lot of times this generation, they want
Mm-hmm.
fast money. And so for me, that means you want to be a freelance worker. You want to do something on your own. So I would love
Mm-hmm.
to open a community center, none like the rest. I would love to have a community center where we have freelance workers who would come in maybe on a 30-day round and we swap them out, but really teach our community, our kids, things that they really want to learn about. So, you know, if we had a hairstylist, a master stylist come in, I would even bring in somebody to do music beats or something like that and have a music studio, you know, a sports broadcaster, things like that. I think I don't want to limit myself. I want to meet the children where they are. And
Right.
so, you know, whatever they're interested in, I want to be able to provide them that. So I'm just building these programs in the background, and
Right.
hopefully you know, anybody who needs that assistance. And I want it to be affordable too, because I don't want anyone's dream deferred because they didn't have access to the information that they needed to
Right.
be successful.
Right.
So that's what's important to me.
Okay. Okay. So for parents, you know, of youth entrepreneurs that want to get in contact with you and learn more about the Enough Foundation, where can they find you?
Yep. So I can be found at the Enough Foundation, Facebook and Instagram. You can always hop in my DM there. And then the Enough Foundation RVA at Gmail is my Gmail email account. And then I also can be reached at 804-557-4321. I will be opening up consultant slots in the very future. I'm almost there. And so I will announce it on my social media platforms very soon, when I'm opening up new mentoring slots. But if anyone just has general questions, they can absolutely reach out to me, but follow me because I will use my platform to drop knowledge. I love sharing information, um, and connecting with people. So definitely look forward to me. This will not be the last you hear of me. I've got so much in store, and I'm excited about sharing it with all the youth and everybody.
Yeah. So I guess with that, real quick question. So I know you said you have four, like for-profit businesses, right? How do you balance all of that?
I'm a crazy lady. No, honestly, so for 12 years, a long time ago, and I'm dating myself now, I ran an event planning business for 12 years. And one thing that
Mm-hmm.
came with that business is organization. You have to be organized. You have to have a skill for keeping things in order. Like that's a skill set. It really is. And I know when you interview and they ask you, like, what are the qualities you bring to the job? I am so organized. I function off of lists, planners. I write everything down. And so, no, you know, even though I don't run the event planning business anymore, that skill set is still there. And so
Mm-hmm.
I brought it into my entrepreneurial world. And so I carve out time in my day and in my week. So on Sundays, I look at my planner and I say, okay, I'm going to dedicate X amount of time to, and I'm going to go ahead and do some shameless plugs if you don't mind. I'm going to go ahead
Yeah.
and carve out time for Plan Ahead Adventures, my travel agency. And so if I set aside an hour a day, then that's the hour that's set aside for that. If
Mm-hmm.
I carve out time for Barbie's mobile bartending, that's a partnership that I own, and I'm the business manager on that one. Then again, I carve out that time and I dedicate that time to that. I'm a mobile notary. That one is a little bit easier because that is appointments. And so therefore, that, you know, that just kind of comes with the territory. It doesn't take up that much time. And then with Tink, I'm considered her chief financial operator. And so I carve out time to work her business as well. So
Right.
it's all about being organized and dedicated too, right? And you don't want to short yourself. So if this is the time you say you're going to do it, then do it. So I go hard. I go really hard, and then I vacation. And so I
Oh,
reset. So
yes, you
when
do.
you see me out there, I'm usually Usually, yeah, I vacation hard because I go so hard when I'm not vacationing. So when
Right.
I'm working, I'm not vacationing, and when I'm vacationing, I'm not working.
Exactly. Yeah, 'cause I see you post pictures online. I'm like, yeah, you stay on the go.
I tell people, I say I sell travel, so therefore I must travel, right? Like people believe
Exactly.
in you when you do what you sell. So I make sure that it comes across in that way. I also want
Right.
to mention too. I'm an author, and so I wrote outside of the cookbook that Amani and I co-authored. I wrote a
Hmm.
children's book called the I'm Enough. And so that's out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble as well. And the proceeds from that book will help fund the Enough Foundation. So that's important to me because I mean we're starting from the ground up and we don't
Yeah.
we don't have any funding. Anything that happens, it's either self-funded or like I said, proceeds from this book while I build
Yeah.
that financial structure for the organization.
Wow.
Mhm.
Like I said, you got a lot on your plate, but you manage everything well. You manage it
Thank
very
you.
well.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much. I haven't broken yet.
Okay. So anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I just want to thank you for your platform. Again, like you said, we met a few years back, and so I was really
Yeah.
honored when you reached out to me to kind of to work with you all with the youth business fair because when I first heard about it, I was just amazed, and
Right.
so just to have things kind of come full circle where I'm now sitting on the other side of the table, it
Right.
feels really really good and even last year, you gave me the platform where we hosted our first summer vendor series over the
Yep.
summer, June, July, August, and you allowed me to, have that platform. So we'll be doing that again this year. So look forward to that 3 days, June, July, and August, one day each month to host
Right.
additional vendor series because that's important to me. So not only do I like to bring the children in or the youth in, I should say, to
Hmm.
help them with their business, but also giving them that platform because I don't
Yeah.
want them, to get complacent and
Yeah.
forget about it. I want to keep the ball going, and so that's important to me is to also give them a space to continue to promote their business. So thank you.
Exactly.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. But thanks again, for accepting the invitation to come on. Again, if you were trying to get in contact with Pam and the Enough Foundation, follow her on Facebook and Instagram at the Enough Foundation, and get some tips and tricks for your kids. Help them as they help to grow their businesses. Pam has a wealth of information, and she's willing to share it. So take advantage. All right.
That's right. I got you.
All right, cool. So thanks everyone for tuning in today, and we'll see you all next week. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
Generational wealth.